Reviewing unrated slime, meaning there are 0 reviews, 0 ratings, so you never know what you're going to get. I bought this on Amazon, by the way. It looks like a decent slime and I really liked the purple color. The slime and add-ons came in its own baggie, which I really appreciate. I was confused about the label on the container. It says birthday cupcake butter slime, but the one in the listing picture says it's a grape butter slime. It came with a grape charm though. Something doesn't make sense.
寿司バカ
It smelled so good. It had a sweet and fruity raspberry scent. Sadly, the texture was not good at all. It was rubbery and hard to stretch, so it wasn't exactly fun to play with. Like, damn, I know I don't have muscles, but slime should not be hard to stretch like that to the point where it makes my hands shake. You can barely poke this. I like to pokety poke and stretchity stretch, not just squishity squish, you know? This had a lot of potential, but it was a letdown. I'm gonna have to give it a 2.5 out of 5 stars. Reviewing a 0-star slime, meaning that it has never been reviewed before. This was packaged with life or death on its hands. They really molded and cut a styrofoam to fit this so that it can come in one piece. I mean, I really appreciate it. It was from overseas, so thank you. I'm impressed at how this looks almost identical to the listing picture and how it came like that, all assembled. This really looks like something that you would get at a cafe or an ice cream shop. The charms were so cute, but they were a little hard to get out. The white layer felt like clay and it was quite tough, unfortunately. I was really surprised at how this came out of the container easily and it didn't break apart. I really love the look of it. They did a great job with the presentation. Sadly, this is not slime at all. It's basically straight up clay. The scent reminded me of tires. Yes, I am serious. But it's really subtle though. I was not expecting this to turn to this lavender purpley color. Gorgeous. Overall, the texture is a no for me, but the presentation and the theme is on point. I dare you to put all your charms in one slime. Sure, let's do it. Okay, there's good news and there's bad news. Let me say the bad news first so we can end on a good note. The bad news is this is going to take some time, a long time, possibly even days to organize all my slimes because I have collected an absurd amount. And then we have to take them out of their individual containers, activate any that need it, and then take out the individual charms. The good news is I've been meaning to do this for a while. Not the taking out the charms part, but organizing all my slimes and just freeing up space because it was just a lot. Now, let's dissect some slimes, shall we? Some things I noticed about the charms are some of them lost its original color. It was also cool to see what charms were associated with the slime. Most of the charms had the slime stuck to them, so I had to manually remove it. And that was not fun because some of the slimes were sticky, so I also had to activate it at the same time. I added all of them to a clear slime, of course, so you can see all the charms in its glory. I actually thought it looked really cool at the end, and surprisingly this didn't hurt my hands at all when I was playing with it. Reviewing slime I got off of Wish. Speaking of Wish, does anyone know what's going on with it? I feel like people just forgot about it and completely moved on. So here's the listing. The pictures are what got me to buy this. They look so pretty. I had low expectations though because Wish can be a little sus, especially with the super cheap prices. So it came in 2 separate baggies. Oof! I didn't really like how it came in baggies because it added extra steps to open it when there's already a container. I mean, it's probably with good intentions though, because maybe they wanted to make sure the colors stay separated during shipping. I still think it's a bit excessive. To be honest, I was disappointed because the packaging looked nothing like the pictures. Also, the size was smaller than I thought. The texture wasn't good either, sadly. I wasn't sure if this was supposed to be scented. I didn't smell anything. Because it's so thick, it rips easily, especially when I stretch it. But the colors are gorgeous and it came clear. This had a lot of potential and it's still pretty, but because it didn't look like the pictures, and if I were to rate this out of 5 stars, I would give it a 3.5. Trypophobia warning. Fixing a 4-month-old dried up slime. I actually let this dried up on purpose for an experiment, but then I forgot about it, so here we are. This was originally a clear purple glitter slime. The way this dried up is so cool. This was rock solid, like rock solid. There's 3 clearly defined layers as if they're marking their territory. I don't get how it became like that, but I'm here for it. To fix this, I tried cutting it with scissors and had no luck, so I added freshly boiled water to it.
Let it cook!
I let it sit for an hour. After an hour, here's what it looks like. It didn't soften all the way, but there was a layer that softened up. I was able to salvage that and decided to use that to turn it into a new slime. So first I added clear glue to increase its size, and then I just gradually added activator to it. In case you don't know, it's basically borax, diluted borax. Also added a drop of purple food coloring. There was a piece that was still in the process of softening up, so it was still pretty solid. I decided to just use it as decor, so I ripped that shit up and cut it right after. And here's the final slime. Did you know that you can buy used slime on Amazon? I didn't even know that that is a thing, so I bought one out of curiosity. So here's the listing. Prices depend on the condition. Minor cosmetic imperfection on top, front or sides of item. Item will come in original packaging inside another box. Original packaging will be damaged. This was rated 3.3 out of 5 stars, which is average. What's interesting is that I found an inspection label on the bottom of the container, so you know 100% that it's used, which shows that they're honest and not just reselling it as a new slime, because that's a crime. Shame on those who do that, you disgusting piece of shit. This is a 2-toned cloud slime. There was a divider in the middle to keep the colors separated, which I found interesting. I'm assuming what they meant by minor imperfections on top is probably the lack of accessories, because this definitely has less fruit female slices than what I saw in the listing pictures. I was not ready for the moistness I felt when I touched the slime for the first time. Oof! It was stretchy and it had minor snow fallout. I'm not the best at drizzling cloud slimes, so I can't really comment about that. All I'm gonna say is that it felt a little stiff. It's very lightly scented, reminded me of iced tea. Iced tea. The pink slime was pretty much similar to the yellow slime. For being a used slime, this is actually not that bad. But I don't think I would try this again, because even though it's cheaper, I don't know how I feel about used slime. I dare you to make slime with thick water. I actually didn't even know that that existed until I saw it at my local CVS. I thought the person was joking, but it's a thing. It's water that has been thickened with other ingredients to make it easier for people who have trouble swallowing. You learn something new every day. I thought that was really fascinating. For the stair, I used clear glue because I wanted to see how this would affect the clearing process. I noticed it stayed consistently clear for a while actually, until I had to go in and knead it with my hands. This is what it looks like after 5 days, which is pretty fast for this size. Usually it can take more than a week to clear up. At first it felt wet and I thought that was weird as fuck. That's typically not common, but then it went away as I played with it more. It didn't make it super thick, but for sure it made it thicker than usual. This person took the time to write out 10 different dares for me, but in order to be fair, I used a number generator and it picked number 9, and that is to make a super bad slime. It can be stringy, hard to stretch, oily or wet, make it smell bad, and add some ugly charms to it. The first thing that I did was to look for a slime that I didn't care about, so a super old one. This one definitely had been sitting around for a year or even longer. I'm going to add a ton of borax into this. We're gonna activate this so much that's gonna become really tough and hard to stretch. That is the goal. Now the next part is to add some scents. So I combined lavender with lemon. Now this might be an unpopular opinion, but I think lavender mixed with anything is just disgusting. I found the perfect charms to top this off. They're actually for Crocs. They're toes. Yes. And here's the final product. Reviewing a worst rated slime. I bought this on Amazon. Here's the listing. Cherry clear slime crystal with glittering mermaid candy, sakura, female slices, non-sticky pre-made slime, super soft jelly clay for girl boy, DIY mud bubble slime, stretchy putty kids craft party favor. Yeah. The listing pictures look really nice and professional. They were even honest and specified that you need to stretch it slow. This was rated 3.7 stars, which is actually not low, but why is it not higher? Usually if a slime is 4 stars and up, personally I consider that a really good slime. Here are some of the reviews. This person said, old hard slime. That's it. 1 star. Ew. Consistency is horrid. It split while it was being shipped. Arrived with split product. 2 stars. More of a putty. What my daughter didn't like was it was more like putty than slime, but it did come with 2 charms, but one of them was a mermaid tail and one was a cherry, and ended up giving to her 13-year-old sister. Now here's a positive review. They said, it's good, hope this helps. When I got the slime, it was a little bit on the container, but that's all, nothing bad. It had the charms and it was the same thing that was in the photo. Okay, so there are mixed reviews. The first thing I noticed was the yellowy tint. I was a bit concerned, TMI, but it looks like someone peed in it and let it marinate. The listing pictures showed it as a perfectly clear slime, so I was confused. It did not smell good at all. It smelled like old ladies in the nursing home, which is not the most pleasant scent. The great things about this is it came with the same mermaid and cherry charms as shown in the pictures. It had a decent stretch despite how thick it is. It's fun to squish and poke. I'm going to knock off some points and give it 3 stars just because of the yellowy tint and the unpleasant scent. I dare you to add a full can of shaving cream into slime. Let's go. Challenge accepted. I wanted to experiment and see if I could mix the entire can of shaving foam into this tiny slime. You may think that this didn't take that long to empty this can, but I, no joke, had like a solid 5 minutes of me just emptying this can of shaving foam, and it was a lot. I was starting to worry that my bowl was not big enough to fit it, but thank thank God it was able to fit it. It felt like I was kneading this for hours and it just wouldn't go anywhere, so I had to resort to adding glue and activator into this, and then eventually it came together into this thick, fluffy, scrumptious ball of dough. Reviewing slime I ordered from Korea. This is called Buff Bear Bread from Magma Slime. As soon as I saw that bear clay piece, immediately added to cart. It looks so cute and funny at the same time. I had to buy it. Everything came bubble wrapped. I really like how the label on the container matches the bear piece. The base of the slime is milky, runny, and tacky. The bear clay piece was really well made. You can just tell by looking at how detailed their abs are. Sadly, it was tough to mix it in, either because of the type of clay they used to keep its shape, or it might have dried up during shipping. After all, it came from far away. Throughout the slime, there are still unmixed chunks from the clay piece. The ending texture is quite unique. Normally when you add some clay into slime, it should change the texture and turn it into some type of clay slime, but it was as if I didn't add any clay into it at all. It felt the same as the original. It still felt runny and tacky no matter how much activator I used. So at first when I smelled this, I thought it smelled like some type of baby lotion, but then I went back into the description and it says it's scented apple black tea. I've never tried that before. I guess I can kind of smell that. Overall, I didn't enjoy the texture of the slime because it felt so tacky, so that made it not as fun to play with. But seeing the buff bear clay piece was cool, and that was definitely the highlight for me, and I was honestly sad mixing it in.